Hi, my name is Rajeev Peshawaria, and I'm based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And what I do for a living is study leadership behavior. Well, my favorite disruptive hero has to be my dad. And I unfortunately lost him almost 20 years ago. And while he was my disruptive hero all through his life, when it really became clear to me is when I was at his funeral. You know, the sheer turnout at his funeral was like he was a celebrity or something. The number of people that showed up, and he was an ordinary citizen. He was a tax consultant in a small town in India. Income tax and sales tax, and everybody in the country who has something to do with that is corrupt. Whether you're an officer, whether you're a practitioner, whether you're a taxpayer, and he was one person who was not corrupt. Perhaps the only one in the whole town. So when I try to understand why so many people came to his funeral when he was just an ordinary guy, and why did the government offices, the sales tax department and the income tax department, declare a public holiday for his death, even though he was just a practitioner, not a politician, not a celebrity, nobody. And many people die. And I understood that they declared a public holiday to respect him for his integrity. And he is the only person I know in that town who's ever had a public holiday at his death. So there were three things that people came to pay their respect on that day. One was his integrity. So people came to tell stories about how honest he was in a sea of dishonesty. The second, people came to say, I want to say thank you for the way he helped me, and he helped me in this way or that way. And numerous people came to me and said, your father helped me in this way, and I just want to pay my respect. And the third was, I've come here because your father forgave me. So integrity, helpfulness, and forgiveness were the three things that made the man. And it was on that day that he became an even bigger hero for me. And I said to myself when I was standing by his funeral, I want to be like my father. My favorite disruptive change is an experience I had, is a freedom that I earned, literally, if I may. And that is, the way I like to describe it is, I went from being a net taker to a net giver from society. And what do I mean by those words? Well, you know, and I don't know when this happened. It didn't happen on a given day. It happened slowly, this transformation. But I would depend upon society for gratification. What was important to me was the next promotion, a little bit more money, a bigger title, and my happiness depended on what I could get from society. Somewhere down the line, I don't know where I learned this from, instead of asking for what I can get, I became, my orientation became, what can I give? And since then, I became a free man. And now it's about, what can I leave behind? And I don't depend on somebody else for my happiness. If I'm happy, I create it. If I'm not happy, that's because of me too. And I feel much more liberated, much more empowered. The disruptive change that I'm currently struggling with is constant connectivity. You know, we are connected 24/7, and this connectivity was supposed to make our lives better. But I think what we are losing because of constant connectivity is mindfulness. And if I'm not mindful, if I'm not reflecting, if I don't have time in my day to think and to feel and to reflect and or to meditate, whichever your form of mindfulness might be, I'm not creating anything. People are looking for the next email, and when an email or a SMS or a tweet doesn't come for a few seconds, they get jittery. I believe there's even a term that's been created called nomophobia, which means no mobile phone phobia. So I think I'm personally struggling with it. The last sort of frontier for being just with yourself used to be a long transcontinental flight. Well, now you're wired even at 37,000 feet. So I guess that's what I'm struggling with. Not just for myself, but for people around me too. You know, I have to say those were not easy questions. I had to really think them through. And so you made me think a lot.